first year of a baby's life is one of the most important periods of nutritional development. During this phase, the goal is simple: introduce as many foods as possible with different textures, flavors, and nutrients, so the baby builds a healthy and varied relationship with food from the very beginning. But not every food is appropriate for this stage. Some foods that are completely safe for adults can cause serious harm to a baby's still developing organism. In some cases, the damage is immediate. In others, it builds up silently and shows up years later. In this video, you will learn which 5 foods babies should not consume before 1 year of age and exactly why each one of them represents a real risk. If you want more content like this about baby nutrition, subscribe to the channel. We publish every week. Now let's get into it. Number 1. Fruit juice. This is probably the most surprising one on this list because it seems healthy. It's natural. It comes from fruit. But there is a fundamental difference between eating a fruit and drinking its juice. When you process a fruit to make juice, 2 things happen. First, you remove the fiber. Second, you concentrate the sugar. Fiber is what controls the speed at which carbohydrates are absorbed. When fiber is present, the natural sugar in fruit is absorbed slowly and gradually. When you remove the fiber, as happens with juice, that sugar enters the bloodstream quickly, causing blood sugar spikes. For a baby, this creates 2 problems. The first is metabolic. Frequent blood sugar spikes put stress on the pancreas and increase the risk of insulin resistance over time. The second is nutritional. Juice takes up space in the baby's small stomach without delivering the nutrition that a solid food would. The baby feels full from the juice and loses appetite for more nutritious foods, which can affect healthy weight gain and dietary diversity. There is also a dental concern. Even natural juice keeps sugar in prolonged contact with the gums and emerging teeth, which accelerates the growth of the bacteria responsible for tooth decay. The American Academy of Pediatrics is clear: no juice before 1 year of age, neither natural nor industrialized. The correct way to offer fruit to a baby is whole, mashed in soft pieces, or as a puree with no added sugar. That way, the baby gets the fruit with its fiber, its micronutrients, and without the problem of concentrated sugar. Number 2. Cow's milk as a main drink. This is one of the most common points of confusion, especially when breastfeeding is not possible or when formula is not available. It is important to make a distinction here. The problem is cow's milk as a main drink, as a replacement for breast milk or formula. Dairy products such as plain whole milk yogurt and cheese can be introduced during complementary feeding. The issue is specifically with cow's milk as the primary source of liquid nutrition. Why is cow's milk not appropriate before 1 year? First, protein composition. Cow's milk has a much higher protein concentration than breast milk. The baby's kidneys are not prepared to process that protein load, which creates renal stress. Second, mineral composition. Cow's milk has elevated concentrations of sodium, potassium, and chloride, again beyond the filtering capacity of the baby's developing kidneys. Third, iron deficiency. Cow's milk does not contain enough iron for the baby's needs, but the problem goes further than just a lack of iron. Cow's milk interferes with the absorption of iron from other foods and can cause microlesions in the intestinal lining, small bleeds that over time lead to iron deficiency anemia. Iron deficiency anemia in early childhood has a direct impact on cognitive and motor development. Studies show that babies with iron deficiency perform worse on developmental assessments even after the anemia has been treated. The recommendation from both the WHO and the AAP is breast milk or infant formula as the main drink until 1 year of age. Cow's milk as a main drink is only appropriate from 1 year onward when the kidneys have the maturity to handle its composition. Number 3. Honey. Honey is a natural food, but it is not a safe food for babies under 1 year of age. The reason is microbiological. Honey can contain spores of a bacterium called Clostridium botulinum. In adults and older children, these spores pass through the digestive tract without causing any harm, because the digestive system is already mature enough to handle them. In a baby, the situation is different. The baby's intestine in the first months of life is still maturing. It does not have the established gut flora or the gastric acidity needed to neutralize these spores. What happens instead is that the spores multiply inside the baby's intestine and produce a substance called botulinum toxin. This toxin is absorbed into the bloodstream and affects the nervous system, causing a condition called infant botulism. Symptoms of infant botulism include progressive muscle weakness, weak cry, difficulty feeding, constipation, and in more severe cases, respiratory difficulty. It is a serious condition that requires hospitalization and intensive care. The recommendation from the American Academy of Pediatrics and the World Health Organization is categorical. No amount of honey is safe before 1 year of age. Not a drop, not diluted in water, not mixed into another food. This includes raw honey, processed honey, honey in homemade recipes, and any industrialized product that contains honey as an ingredient. Before giving any packaged food to your baby, check the label. If honey is listed as an ingredient, that product is not appropriate for children under 1 year. Number 4. Salt. Salt is the most common seasoning in adult food, and that is exactly why it is one of the most frequent mistakes in baby food, because adults tend to season the baby's food the same way they season their own. The problem is renal. The baby's kidneys in the first months of life are still maturing. They can filter the sodium that is naturally present in whole foods, but they cannot process the excess sodium that comes from added salt. When a baby consumes added salt, the kidneys have to work beyond their capacity to eliminate that excess. Over time, this overload can compromise renal development and increase the risk of high blood pressure in adult life. Research shows that dietary habits formed in early childhood have a direct impact on cardiovascular health decades later. Early excess sodium intake is one of the factors associated with that risk. The recommendation is no added salt before 1 year of age. This includes table salt, sea salt, pink salt, fleur de sel, and any other type of salt. It also includes store-bought broths, instant soups, seasoning powders, soy sauce, and processed foods in general, which tend to have very high sodium concentrations. Foods already contain sodium naturally in amounts that are sufficient for the baby. Chicken, eggs, vegetables, and grains all have sodium. The baby does not need anything more than that. If the family is eating together, the ideal approach is to separate the baby's portion before adding any seasoning. Number 5. Sugar. Sugar is the second most common seasoning in adult food and the second most common mistake in baby food. The impact of sugar at this stage goes beyond tooth decay, although that is already a real concern even before teeth appear, because the bacteria responsible for cavities begin colonizing the mouth early on. The bigger impact is on the formation of taste preferences. Babies are born with a natural preference for sweet flavors. This is evolutionary. Breast milk has a mildly sweet taste, and this preference ensures the baby accepts nutrition in the first months of life. When you introduce added sugar during this phase, you artificially intensify that preference for sweetness. The baby begins to reject foods with less intense flavors, bitter, sour, and neutral ones, which are precisely the most nutritious foods: vegetables, greens, and whole grains. Beyond taste, early sugar consumption is associated with an increased risk of childhood obesity, insulin resistance, and the development of type 2 diabetes later in life. The recommendation is no added sugar before 2 years of age. This includes white sugar, brown sugar, coconut sugar, molasses, agave, maple syrup, and any other natural or artificial sweetener. It also includes flavored yogurts, packaged juices, cookies, jellies, chocolate drinks, and any processed product that lists sugar among its ingredients. Fruit already contains natural fructose in amounts that are appropriate and safe for the baby. Nothing more needs to be added. Fruit juice, cow's milk as a main drink, honey, salt, and sugar. 5 foods that are part of everyday family life and that for specific reasons related to the baby's developing organism should not be offered during the first months of life. The underlying principle is always the same. A baby's body is still being built, and some foods that are perfectly safe for adults are simply not appropriate for a system that is not yet ready for them. The description of this video has a free guide with the complete first-year feeding plan, what is safe, what to avoid, and when to introduce each food. Just click and download. In the next video, we cover the 5 foods you should introduce as early as possible, including some that most parents still avoid without needing to. See you then.